I'm in front of the abortion mill here in Washington, D.C. This is 16th Street. Behind me you can see the Planned Parenthood facility. And of course this is where women come in to kill their children. And there are lots of these all over the country. There are thousands of them. And of course we know that at a rate of 4,000 per day, that's how many babies are being killed inside these facilities. The discussion here is whether or not they're allowed to stop people from going past this gate. And you can see this gate right over here that this woman is leaning on. And that gate is what's determined to be blocking public property.
Well, I think the whole controversy was whether or not people could go inside the fence that's been erected in front of Parenthood here. And that situation has been determined that the sidewalk leading up to the building of Planned Parenthood is public space. But in order to make sure that everyone has free access and ability to go inside the building, we want to try to make sure that the sidewalk is left open. People will be allowed inside the fence, but they'll be in an area 4 feet off the sidewalk and about 20 feet away from the building.
Okay, so the official stance that it is public space, but you want to make it safe. People can come up to a certain point, but there's no legal restrictions as far as where people can go. It's just right now it's an agreed upon.
Well, it's not agreed upon. It's a determination made by the attorneys for the city that this area inside the fence is public space, but in order to make sure that there's free ingress and access in and out of the area, or in and out of the clinic, that we want to keep this somewhat exclusionary zone open so that people can come inside the fence and pray, but we want to make sure that the sidewalks are kept free and that the entrance of the building is kept free and open as well.
What we're out here for is to protest this. If it's public property, it's public property. It doesn't matter how far we go. The grass that's out there that people pray on is public property that anybody should be able to go out onto and pray. And really, that's what we're talking about. That's what goes on here. People come out here to pray for the unborn. So, I mean, you got to watch these kinds of things and get involved. I mean, if you know of anything that's happening in your area, find out where there's an abortion mill. If you're not sure, go to prolifeunity.com and click on Contact Us. We'll help you find where the abortion mills are so that you can go out and perhaps join others and pray. Get involved in the movement.
Peter, behind me you see the public sidewalk in front of Planned Parenthood. I'm standing on one on 16th Street. To my immediate right, I'm actually looking at the White House right now. For years on that sidewalk where the police officers are standing, people were allowed to pray. Sidewalk council, offer hope and help to women. But several months ago, the city of Washington, D.C. began to threaten peaceful prayers and sidewalk counselors with arrest. We immediately got involved and began working together, and on June 8th, working with the American Center for Law and Justice, I knelt right in front of a manhole cover there and was arrested. Guide us, Lord. Minister, we pray. Let your kingdom and will be done. We thank you, O Lord, and was arrested. This marked the first time in the history of Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, where prayer and First Amendment activities were banned on a public sidewalk. That's horrific enough, but they were banned to protect abortion. So we said, how does the church need to respond to this? How do people of goodwill need to respond? We aggressively pursued it in courts. I want to say on June 29th at my arraignment, the U.S. attorneys didn't even show up. No charges were filed against me, even though I had to fly. I was doing a conference in California. I had to fly 3,000 miles for my arraignment and back. But here's what we did. We took Esther 4:16. The Jewish nation was facing extinction. The Jewish people were facing annihilation. And Esther did two things. She called for extraordinary prayer and fasting, and then she called for extraordinary radical obedience and engagement, saying, I am going to go into the king, even if it means my life. So on August 13th and 14th, we called for people to come pray here at Planned Parenthood. And a number of people were going to go to this exact sidewalk, this sidewalk you see right behind me, to kneel in prayer, even if that meant going to jail. The viewers can't see it right now, but there are a number of cop cars behind me. There's the police actually arrest van right there. But Peter, something extraordinary happened. On Thursday morning, the city of Washington, D.C. contacted me, and in one of the most significant First Amendment free speech victories I've ever been involved with, the city of D.C. has determined that that door, that sidewalk which begins at that door and comes here, is indeed public property. These signs that Planned Parenthood put up, they're lies. It's not private property. And it's really disheartening that Planned Parenthood, I guess it makes sense when you have no respect for life, when you do not care about human rights. Why would you care about the First Amendment and free speech? But anyway, we won a historic victory. People are going to kneel and pray on that public sidewalk. I'm very proud. The first one is going to be my daughter, who was married a year ago. She's 17 weeks pregnant. She's going to kneel there, and that child inside of her, we pray, instead of this being a concrete sidewalk that leads to pain, brokenness, and death, we proclaim life. So I want to encourage everyone. This is an incredible victory. Now is the time to stand. It's important for the church to be bold, courageous, passionate, prophetic, and not to compromise, not to cower in fear, but to stand up. And we saw the victory here today. In just about 45 or 50 minutes, you will see people pray on a sidewalk that the city once declared was private property, Planned Parenthood lied and said was private property, and the courage of God's people opened it up. Hopefully this is an inspiration for the country. Peter, here's what we need to stress. Our rights, our freedoms, our liberties are not etched in stone from the standpoint we have to defend them. We have to fight for them. In other words, if we stand apathetic, we could lose them. I would encourage people across America, when the encroaching arm of government comes in and violates our Constitution and the principles of human rights established in the Bible, we need to stand like Esther did, like people did here today. In just a few minutes again, if you can see, those police officers are pretty intimidating there. The cop cars here, but we're standing. So that's my response to people across the country. Do not be bullied. Do not be intimidated. Do not silence your voices, but be bold, courageous, and prophetic.
The pro-life efforts, this is something that you have to be involved in. There's no way that you can look at this from the background and say that leave it up to someone else to do. We've got to do this. It's up to all of us to do something. We have to all be activists in the same way that all of the things in the past have been fought for, such as slavery, the civil rights issues, of course, fighting for the rights of people everywhere. This is an issue that we have to get involved in, and we are the most peaceful effort out there. You see Greenpeace and what they do and how they will injure people or injure their vehicles or injure their boats or whatever. Well, what we do is we come out and pray. Can't get any more peaceful than that. So get involved, join us, prolifeunity.com. It's up to us. If we don't do anything, the unborn will die alone.
You can't have someone on a sidewalk because they believe a certain way and then arrest someone on a public sidewalk because they believe another way.